Good morning. It is the day we've all been waiting for since the August primary. Today, millions of voters will decide who the next governor and senator will be in Florida.
Sort of feeling like it did back in August, with temperatures this afternoon warming into the mid and upper 80s, looking like a great day across the Bay Area.
A good start to our morning commute. We do have a couple of crashes out there, all of them minor and none of them blocking any main lanes. I'll have travel times for you before you head out to the polls.
All right, Hillary, and with all the excitement over today's election, 5 Tampa Bay counties are making it easy and free for you to get to the polls today.
Right, and trending political topics, we take a closer look at what issues voters have and where the candidates stand as well. Good morning, I'm Aubrey Jackson.
And I'm Rob Finnerty. It is a Tuesday morning, November the 6th, Election Day. Brightside starts right now.
All right, let's do this thing. An hour until the polls open up, and we've got great weather already out there for you. Temperatures are in the 70s. We've got partly cloudy skies, a few more clouds to the north, and it will be generally north of the I-4 corridor where we will see a little more cloud cover today. Temps right around 68 in Sarasota. In fact, Lakeland at 70, 73 in St. Pete, 73 now in Tampa. Notice a little bit of cloud cover in Tampa, but clear skies elsewhere. We'll see that mixture of sun and clouds early this morning. We'll call it partly sunny, but as we get into the afternoon, more of a partly cloudy sky. A warm day for November. Temperatures will be about 6 to 7 degrees warmer than average this afternoon. Sunset this evening at 5:42.
We still have a crash along I-4 in Lakeland. I've been on top of this for the past hour. It is on eastbound I-4 right at State Road 33, exit 38 in Lakeland. The tow truck is here, so hopefully this gets cleared very soon. We're starting to see traffic pick up a little bit in that eastbound direction. And in Pinellas County, there's a crash in downtown Clearwater. This one is on Fort Harrison Avenue at Drew Street. I know it's a popular intersection for rush hour, but so far I'm not seeing any delays.
All right, we are now less than an hour away from polls officially opening. This is a live look at one of the voting locations that's going to be opening up in about 58 minutes in Hillsborough County. 2 years ago, Hillsborough County was one of the 9 counties in the state of Florida that voted blue out of the entire state. We're talking about 67 counties in all, and President Trump is hoping that it stays that way today. According to a CBS News YouGov tracker, more than 70% of voters say President Trump will be a factor in how they vote today, and Republicans are confident they'll keep control of the Senate. But that very same CBS News YouGov tracker poll says Democrats have a slight edge to take back control of the House of Representatives today for the first time since 2010.
El Pasoans have turned out at 3.5 times what they did in the last midterm election. If that trend continues tomorrow, we win.
With the economy booming in Texas, who in their right mind would want to screw that up?
Boy, that is going to be an exciting race to see play out today. Candidates around the country are saying this is the most important election of their lifetime, and voters seem to agree. Early voting numbers are already setting records across the entire country. There are 36 governor races happening across the country today, and both chambers of Congress are up for grabs. One of the tightest races is right here in Florida between Mayor Andrew Gillum and former Congressman Ron DeSantis. And just after Brightside, Manuel Borquez will be live in Tallahassee, where Mayor Gillum will be voting in today's election. Ron DeSantis will be casting his ballot in Ponte Verde Beach at 7:15 this morning, and he will be joined by family and his supporters. Democratic candidate for Attorney General Sean Shaw will be voting at the North Tampa Public Library at 7:30. His opponent, Ashley Moody, will be casting her ballot at the Florida Aquarium when polls open at 7 o'clock, about 57 minutes from now. And a new poll released on Monday shows Florida Democrats are building momentum heading into today's election. The Quinnipiac University poll has Democrat Bill Nelson leading Republican Rick Scott by 7 points right now in the governor's race. Democrat Andrew Gillum is leading Republican Ron DeSantis also by 7 points. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus about 3.5%. Again, that was from Quinnipiac University. But no matter what the polls say, 10 News will be all over the state of Florida tonight for victory and concession speeches. We have teams in Tallahassee, Orlando, and down in Naples, Florida right now. This midterm election is being dubbed the Year of the Woman, with more female candidates running for office across the country than we have ever seen before. And Brightside's Jenny Dean is here to talk about the significance of this election for women everywhere.
Oh yeah, definitely, Rob. And I do have a fun fact for you. It's interesting that a recent United Nations report ranked countries for their percentage of female legislators. And you'd think the U.S. would be somewhere near the top. Wrong. We are 104th. And that number's surprising because according to the Washington Post, women vote in larger numbers than men here in the U.S. Now let's break down the numbers. In the U.S. Congress, there are 84 female representatives and 23 senators. According to the Washington Post, at least 540 women are running for state or federal or state legislative offices. In Florida, 27 representatives and 13 senators in the state legislature are women. And we now want to take a look at some of the governor's races. So there are currently 6 female governors across the country. That could change tonight. Take a look at this map here. 16 women are hoping to run their states, including 4 incumbents that are currently serving as governor. Now, 2 of these women would make history if elected. First, Stacey Abrams is running for governor in Georgia. If elected, she would be the first female African-American governor in the country. And then there's Christine Hawkins, a candidate in Vermont who has already made history by being the first major party nominee who is transgender. And if she wins, she would, of course, be the first transgender governor. And Rob, the 2018 election year being compared to the last Year of the Woman, which was in 1992, when a record number of women actually ran for and won elections across the country.
But we could break records this year that
Definitely.
Have been held for a long, long time now. You know, it's Vermont, a very progressive state.
Definitely.
That Stacey Abrams election in Georgia, that's been national headlines for weeks now.
She's had a lot of celebrities. Oprah
Yeah,
has been out there supporting her. So, I mean, just the significance of women running for office, I think, is important to note.
And it's all going to play out starting in just about 54 minutes. Be sure to follow 10 News on social media throughout the day today. We will be live streaming on Facebook and on our website, WTSP.com. And we are just getting things started on this Election Tuesday here on Brightside. Could Florida have a new senator by the end of the day? It's time to see where Bill Nelson and Rick Scott stand on the issues. But before we go to break, we want to remind you about the amendments that you'll see on the ballot today.
Good morning, everyone. 10 News meteorologist Grant Gilmore here along with you on this Election Day Tuesday, finding a mixture of cloud cover and clear skies this morning. Really just depends on where you are. Some cloud cover over downtown Tampa right now, but it's going to be a great start to the day. Temperatures at 73 right now in Tampa, dew point of 69, so a little humidity around the area, relative humidity at 87%. Temperatures, though, I mean, they're comfortable. 73 Tampa, same with St. Pete, 70 in Bradenton, a few mid and upper 60s to the north. Brooksville now at 67 degrees. There's your satellite and radar loop showing you some cloud cover in and out of the region. More cloud cover around the Bay Area and points north. Overall, looking at a nice day, increasing sunshine throughout the day today. I mean, compared to the rest of the country, we have some of the best weather in the entire lower 48. You've got a strong cold front bringing severe weather to portions of the Appalachian Mountains this morning. That will shift to the east into the mid-Atlantic later today. A strong area of low pressure pulling down some cold air for the central plains. Mild and dry over the desert southwest. That's expected, but almost so is the snow across the northern tier states. So this inevitably probably does impact voter turnout. Cooler and windy through the Midwestern states into the mid-Atlantic. You've got thunderstorms from the southeast all the way up along the eastern seaboard. Severe storms for them. And here we are, well, not chilling, but we're hanging out with warm conditions near record highs today. Highs will be in the mid and upper 80s this afternoon. The record today is 90 degrees. Partly cloudy skies by the time we get into the afternoon, so some morning cloud cover, maybe even some patchy fog for the morning commute. But by this afternoon, this is what the satellite and radar could look like. This is a beautiful thing. Highs in around 86, 87 degrees today. Tonight we'll likely see some fog redevelop through the Nature Coast. That'll be something to watch along the I-75 corridor tomorrow morning. But as we go through the second half of the morning, the sunshine comes back. Good looking day again tomorrow. Temperatures back into the mid 80s tomorrow afternoon. Futurecast suggesting a couple of spots of rain, 10% chance, guys. That's it for seeing any rainfall over the next couple of days. Warmer weather for now, but as we go through the second half of the weekend into the beginning of next week, cooler air begins to arrive, talking about highs potentially in the 60s for the middle of next week. That's not until next Wednesday. In the meantime, temperatures staying in the mid and upper 80s through the rest of the week with only small chances of rain through the weekend into next week.
It is 6:13, and as we start off our Tuesday morning here, many of you are up, maybe getting ready to even head out the door to get in line for the polls. This morning, we are dealing with pretty quiet conditions on the roads. We do have a broken down vehicle, though, on the Veterans Expressway. I'm not sure if this is a truck or a car. It's reported as a car, but I got a report that it could be a semi here on southbound Veterans Expressway near Waters Avenue. Regardless, it's not blocking the main lane. This is off to the side, and the Vets is running smoothly southbound, although definitely picking up volume-wise for our morning commute here. It is 6:13. Here's downtown Tampa, starting to lighten up out there just a little bit. This is 275 right at Jefferson Street, and as we pick up north and south on 275, we're not seeing our travel times get any heavier. So whether you're coming from the Howard Franklin Bridge or maybe from the North Apex, just south of Wesley Chapel, you won't be delayed. Your bridges are also still in the green. The Courtney Campbell Causeway taking you 7 minutes to cross. The Howard Franklin Bridge is at 6 minutes. The Gandy still at 5 minutes with a slight delay on the Tampa side approaching the Selman Expressway through that construction zone. And in Lakeland, I am still on top of this crash along I-4 eastbound at State Road 33, exit 38. This is off to the left shoulder. So far, not causing any delays. You have the tow truck here, so hopefully this gets cleared pretty soon. It's been here for the past 2 hours. And then Manatee and Sarasota counties, all is good for you. Not seeing any issues along I-75 through Bradenton. Aubrey.
All right, thanks, Hillary. Election day is here, and for those of you casting your ballot today, we wanted to simplify the candidates for you. For the last few days, Google Trends has been able to show us what everyone is talking about in Tampa Bay, and one of those being healthcare. So, Rob, where do the candidates stand when it comes to healthcare?
Yeah, it's a big question. There's a lot of confusion here, but the Tampa Bay Times came out with a few articles that compared the two candidates, and they broke it down in a really simple, easily understandable way. So there's no denying that Governor Rick Scott has been dead set against Obamacare. He actually ran on a push to repeal the Affordable Care Act, saying it was pushing healthcare costs up, but then 5 years ago he changed his mind, calling for Medicaid to be expanded under the healthcare law. Then in 2015, he changed his mind again, but he said that he is against cutting Social Security and Medicare. As for Bill Nelson, he's been a big supporter of Obamacare, and for years he's criticized Scott for not expanding Medicaid in Florida under the Affordable Care Act. But like Rick Scott, Nelson is also against any cuts to Social Security or Medicare.
And you know, another topic that's really widely searched, especially in our area too, Rob, is immigration. Kind of tell us where the candidates stand on something like that.
All right, so when Rick Scott first ran for governor 8 years ago, he took a strong stance on immigration, going against President Obama's executive order that protected young immigrants who came to the country as kids. But he's softened his stance since then. He now says he supports giving legal protections to those immigrants, but remains a big supporter of border security. As for Bill Nelson, he's called for immigration reform several times before, including increasing border security and granting visas to certain undocumented immigrants. But Bill Nelson largely opposes President Trump's push to remove the birthright citizenship from the children of immigrants.
Really good stuff there. Lastly, the topic of guns too, Rob. This is actually something that was lowly searched when it comes to the Google Trends topics.
Right.
But it's, I mean, considering Florida has dealt with the Pulse nightclub shooting, then we also had the Parkland shooting, all relatively close in time. Kind of tell us where the candidates stand on guns.
All right, so Aubrey, this is pretty fascinating because both candidates basically fall right along party lines when it comes to this issue. Take a listen.
I think we ought to focus on the problem. The problem is we have people that want to harm themselves or others, And I think we ought to take all weapons away from them. And that's what we did in legislation I got passed this year within a little over 3 weeks right after Parkland happened.
We ought to pass a comprehensive background check, a universal and comprehensive background check like the one that I have voted on. And until we do that, we are going to continue to have the problems that we're having.
Both those comments were made during their one and only debate. They never had a follow-up debate to that after Hurricane Michael. And one of the things that politicians are going to need to be aware of right now, this election cycle here in Florida is the first time that survivors and people affected by the Parkland school shooting will be going out there and voting. A lot of those kids that were there at the school are now 18 years old. Those survivors mobilize their teen counterparts in other parts of the country as well. We saw that in a big way. So the results today will be something everyone is going to be watching for as well.
Absolutely. And then in about 20 minutes, we'll talk about the gubernatorial candidates and where they stand too. You don't want to miss that.
Well, good morning and welcome back to Brightside on this election day. It's time for our Business Blast powered by Cheddar. This is probably the only segment we have in the entire broadcast today, Baker, where we are not going to be talking politics start to finish. So what do you got for us?
Well, we got everything but politics today, Rob. 2 cities could soon be calling Amazon's HQ2 home. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Amazon plans to split the second headquarters into 2 different cities. Now, the decision was made in an effort to recruit the best tech talent as well as limit infrastructure challenges that would come with one huge, massive facility. Now, no decision, Rob, has been made about what city is going to be picked, but so far, Dallas, New York City, and Crystal City, Virginia, which is just outside of D.C., are all on the short list. Now, Rob, the final decision could be announced as soon as this week. I know you're a big fan of Crystal City, Virginia.
You know what? I hear that that's actually the favorite of of those selections right there for the obvious advantages that lobbyists would have being so close to the Capitol. By the way, Baker, welcome back. We had Tim the last couple of days, so welcome back. I forgot to welcome you back.
Way too much handsome happening with you two guys.
Baker, come on, don't sell yourself short. All right, your next trip to the convenience store could be faster than ever. Baker, tell us more.
Yeah, 7-Eleven, Rob, is the latest to test out mobile checkouts. That way you don't have to wait in line for that cashier ever again. Customers scan items using an app and then confirm your payment with a QR code as you walk out the door. Now, Rob, this program is being tested in 14 locations in Dallas right now, but is expected to expand to other 7-Elevens across the globe. Now, Sam's Club recently announced a similar checkout pilot program. That one is also being tested out in Dallas. Dallas is apparently the place to test out all these things, Rob.
Yeah, big D all over the place today in the broadcast. How about that? Baker, I understand that there's going to be no cheddar tomorrow, hump day, but we will have you back on Thursday, correct?
Yeah, we want to give everybody a break for all the politics that's happening for tomorrow morning.
Right, sort of digest what happens. You guys have got some big elections up there in New York, some major elections happening nationwide. We'll see you again on Thursday. Back end of the week, we look forward to that, Baker. Obs?
All right, you guys. So today we're taking a closer look at the candidates and the amendments, but then also we want to talk about you, the voters. What about the weather? We heard earlier Grant talking about how great it's going to be over the weekend, but that might not be the case for a lot of Americans in other places who, of course, are not in Florida. Let's take a look at a tweet that we're seeing coming from Vanessa, who's chiming in on the weather-related topic. She tweets, "Voting is a habit. If you don't do it once, you are less likely to do it again. Bad weather across the country tomorrow, basically today. What's worse, minutes of planning ahead to avoid rain, cold, and snow, or a government that doesn't represent you for years?" Really interesting kind of take on that, Grant. But what are we looking at weather-wise, like nationally?
Yeah, don't let a few raindrops, keep you from going to the polls. The thing is, like you said, Aubrey, weather's going to be great here across the Bay Area today, but not the case across a good portion of the eastern half of the United States. In fact, this is interesting. A poll in 2012 said that 19% of decided voters would be impacted by the weather, and then 35% of undecided voters may not go out to the polls with bad weather. I mean, look at that. Just a strong cold front could even bring severe weather to portions of the mid-Atlantic up into the Northeast later on today. Cold weather into the northern tier states, where parts of Minnesota and Minneapolis will be dealing with snow, cool and windy conditions to the Central Plains, thunderstorms from the central Gulf states all the way north into the Northeast. So a wet and soggy start to parts of the eastern half of the United States. Meanwhile, we're just hanging out with warm conditions for our election day. We'll have temperatures in the mid and upper 80s this afternoon compared to parts of the northern tier states where they'll see temperatures in the 20s. So enjoy 87 degrees under partly sunny skies, looking fantastic for us throughout the day.
All right, Grant, thank you. Hopefully a lot of those people, they voted by ballot, by mail before today, but 12 states will open at the 7 o'clock hour, and that's about 30 minutes from right now. The voting precincts will be open for a full 12 hours from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. But if you need a ride to your precinct, there are a few options to get there.
It is 6:30 and we have a live look at a crash in Hillsborough County here along MLK Boulevard at Mango Road. You do have a lane blocked there. And to start off our Tuesday morning as you head out to the polls on this election day, this is a live look at the sunrise that we're starting to see here. This is the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. I'll have bridge drive times for you coming up.
I can get behind that. A good start to the day. Partly cloudy skies. From that view, we'll see partly sunny conditions across the area this morning. Sunrise at 6:45. Temps at the bus stop will be around 72. The ride home on the warm side in the middle 80s.
All right, Grant, red or blue, left or right, today voters will decide who our next governor and senator will be right here in the state of Florida.
And where did the candidates stand on the issues you care about most? We have those answers for you.
It is Election Day, Tuesday, November the 6th. The Bright Side starts right now. Good morning and thanks for being with us here on Brightside Today. I'm Rob Finnerty. We are now 30 minutes from local polls opening up for Election Day, and we're expecting turnout to be well above average. And Brightside's Emerald Morrow is live at the polls on Davis Islands. And Emerald, you've got some last-minute tips to cut down on those wait times because those lines can get extremely long. Doesn't matter if it's an off-year cycle either.
Yeah, I mean, so many people are excited about all the races, but I got some tips for you. As you mentioned, the secret is in the sample ballot. We talked about this morning, but we just can't stress this enough. This is the all races sample ballot for Hillsborough County, and it's like 5 pages long, and it covers everything from, of course, the governor's race to the Senate race to the school board to constitutional amendments. It's enough to make your head spin. So election officials say if you haven't taken the time to actually fill this out, you're looking at spending about 45 minutes in the privacy booth just trying to wrap your head around everything, and I don't think anyone has time for that. So election officials are encouraging you to print this form off, fill it out ahead of time, and take it with you and use it as a guide, and this is something that is allowed and encouraged.
Download that sample ballot. Take your time, do your research. You can actually use that as a guide. Bring it into the polling site with you. You can take it to the privacy booth, and you can go ahead and make your selections based on your sample ballot on the regular ballot. It's a real simple process.
Yes, very simple, and it will save you a lot of time. And the other thing that we want to talk about is we've talked a lot about early voting and mail-in ballots. If you have not turned in your mail-in ballot, you might think it's too late. Well, officials say that you can actually turn that in, not at your precinct, but you have to get it in to the supervisor of elections office by 7 o'clock. But if you do want to go to the polls and actually go into the privacy booth and cast a ballot, you can do that as well. Just make sure you have your photo ID. Make sure you've done your research. We've talked about that so much. That is so important. And then also make sure you do it by 7 o'clock because that is when the polls will close. Back to you.
Emerald, we have a crash right near a polling location, well, several polling locations in downtown Clearwater. So here in Pinellas County, there's a crash along Fort Harrison Avenue right at Drew Street. Just a heads up, it's at that intersection, but so far not causing a delay. And let's go live to Sky 10 in Hillsborough County here, where we have a crash along MLK Boulevard at Mango Road. And we're looking at the intersection right now. Doesn't look like at least it's at the intersection anymore. We just saw it cleared very quickly here. Okay, I'll have a travel time for you, not just on MLK, but also I-4 coming up. And Grant, every live look that we're taking outside, all I'm seeing is a pretty sunrise. I'm not really seeing any weather in the way.
Oh, it's gorgeous this morning. Look at this view. This is from the roof here at 10 News looking to the south and east. I mean, just stunning sunrise on the way. Sunrise actually doesn't occur for another 15 minutes or so, so we're already getting some good color this morning. Fantastic start to the day. Satellite and radar shows us no rain on the map at all. We'll have some scattered clouds throughout the morning, but overall a fantastic election day for us. A few of you do have some patchy fog to deal with. Temple Terrace, case in point there, visibility is down to 1.25 miles for you, but not a lot of fog this morning. So overall, election day is just about as best as you can get. Temperatures will be in the mid and upper 80s this afternoon, albeit, yeah, a little warm, but I don't think we'll have a lot of complaints with that. Only a 10% chance for an isolated shower north of I-4 today. As we go through the evening, polls close at 7 o'clock. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s. Forecast is on the radio. Our radio partners are the Dove 105.5, the Eagle 107.3, Hitland 106.9 in Sarasota, and Magic 94.9.
Grant, if getting to the polls today is difficult for you or somebody you know, somebody in your family or a friend, this might help.
Yeah, counties across the Bay Area are offering free rides on public transportation to those who are voting. This will really help you out.
Yeah, there are a couple of things you need to know before heading out the door today, though.
And Brightside's Sean Stryker is riding on a Heart bus this morning. Sean, some of the people you were riding with this morning didn't even know about this free ride.
They didn't. Actually, most of them didn't until I told them about it. Once they heard, hey, they thought it was a great idea. It's a great way to get to and from the polls. One guy actually just got off the bus. I finally found someone that plans on using this service later. And he said if it wasn't for that, well, he doesn't know how he would get to the polls. It's a way for him to get there without having to worry about that expense. If you are going to be using this free service to the polls, though, there are a couple things you need to know. First and foremost, remember to bring your voter ID card. That's essentially your ticket to get on and get that free ride to the bus. Also remember your photo ID. You need that to vote, not to get on the bus. Before you get on the bus, though, look up your polling place, because once you're on, well, the bus driver is not going to be able to help you find your polling place, and you have to go to your specific to vote. And be aware that the polls close at 7 p.m. tonight, and take that into consideration when you're planning your trip. If public transportation doesn't work for you, Uber and Lyft are also offering free rides or discounted rides to and from the polling places. Hey, Hillsborough County, though, it's not the only county that is offering these rides. I want you to take a look at this list. Hernando Express Bus, Manatee County, Pasco County, Pinellas, Sarasota. They are all offering free rides to and from the polls on public transportations. ITN Suncoast, they are offering free rides in Manatee and Sarasota County as well. And like Rob, you were just saying, even if you don't need a ride, you might know somebody who does need a ride. So make sure you pass that information along to them as well. If you want to hear it, don't worry, we have it all on our website as well. You know, we list those counties that offer those free rides, as well as how to get the free or discounted rides from Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, it's a really nice thing that Hart is doing, and a very convenient service. Thank you, Sean. Be sure to follow 10 News on social media throughout the day, and always. We will be live streaming on Facebook and on our website, WTSP.com. It is a very big day today on this election day. We also have a health alert for you right now out of St. Pete Beach. Health officials say one of the workers at the Toasted Monkey restaurant have tested positive for hepatitis A. This is on Pass-A-Grill if you've been out there. If you visited the restaurant on Gulf Boulevard between October 17th and 28th, they say you should get checked if you haven't already.
I think it's important that the people that handle food do get tested regularly for these types of illnesses, since it could affect many other people.
They're doing the right things. They're trying to correct them. We've been coming here for years, never had an issue anywhere along the beach, and we're here to support them.
All right, so if you've been vaccinated, you should be okay, but the restaurant did open up on Monday afternoon. You can also get a hep vaccine. Hepatitis A is an extremely contagious virus that attacks the liver. Symptoms include yellowing of the skin and eyes, fever, diarrhea, fatigue, and a loss of appetite. We do have a recall alert for you as well on this Tuesday morning. Several Duncan Hines white cake mixes were recalled Monday after salmonella was found in a sample of Duncan Hines Classic White Cake Mix. Congera, which is the company that runs Duncan Hines, they voluntarily recalled 4 specific cake mixes: Classic White, Classic Butter, Golden, Signature Confetti, and Classic Yellow, which were all made during the same time period. All have Best Buy dates between March 7th and March 13th of 2019. There's also a long number that you can check. We've got those numbers on our website, WTSP.com. Well, do you know where Ron DeSantis stands when it comes to health care? Or what about Andrew Gillum when it comes to gun control? We will have those answers for you coming up in 5 minutes.
The polls open in 18 minutes, Tampa Bay. So if you are up and at it on this Tuesday morning, get out and vote. This is a live look at I-4 right near the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Tampa, where westbound traffic is definitely picking up for our Tuesday morning commute. I'll have travel times for you coming up.
Good morning, I'm Rob Finnerty. As you head out the door on this Tuesday morning, the body of the Utah mayor who died in Afghanistan over the weekend arrived at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware earlier this morning. Brent Taylor was killed during an apparent insider attack in Afghanistan. Meantime, in Bay County, the school district says 90% of its teachers and staff have reported for work, but the district isn't sure how many students will return when school begins again next week. Many schools in Bay County are still without internet, and some were destroyed completely. Grant, we're just about a month past now from Hurricane Michael. It's amazing how quickly that time went by.
Yeah, it is. You know, but it's also amazing how much work they've done up there to just sort of get things back on track so they can start the rebuilding process through the Panhandle, and hopefully the weather continues to cooperate for them, though they will have some showers and storms up in the Panhandle today. We, however, are just starting off with a gorgeous sunrise. It's one of those sunrises where you just sit there and you watch, and if you're just watching it for 5 minutes, it will change so much with these mid and upper level clouds coming through, passing across the area, giving us some good color. It really depends on where you are. Over in St. Pete, that last view was at the top of the 10 News building here, but in downtown St. Pete from the Mahaffey Theater, looking to the south and east, a little more cloud cover sort of obscuring the sunrise, but technically the sun doesn't rise for another couple of minutes, so we'll see the skies continue to change colors and change the way they look for the next, I'd say 10 minutes or so. 73 degrees right now in downtown St. Pete. Again, sunrise at 6:45. Temperatures will be around 71 degrees. We should have a nice sunrise. We should have a nice day for that matter. Temperatures ranging from the upper 60s to low 70s this morning. There's that mid and upper level of cloud cover streaming across the Bay Area. We'll see a little more cloud cover this morning. Later this afternoon, plan on more sunshine. There you see the cold front producing the showers and a few storms through the central Gulf states up into the Panhandle. This is the area through the Appalachians up into the Mid-Atlantic where they'll find some nasty, nasty weather. Severe weather up into just cold rain into the northeast. On the backside of this area of low pressure, snow into parts of the northern tier states. So a blustery day through the central plains, snow into a cold rain into Wisconsin and Michigan, wet conditions all across the central Gulf states and then all up along the eastern seaboard. Severe weather possible through Virginia up into Maryland and Delaware, rain as far north as Maine. For us, for them. For us, it's much nicer weather for Election Day. We got to be grateful for this, right? Temperatures starting off in the low to mid 70s, warming under what will eventually be partly cloudy skies. Highs this afternoon will be in the middle 80s, so a little warmer than what you might expect for Election Day, but who's complaining, right? No, nobody, no. Mostly clear skies through the first half of the overnight into tomorrow morning. Watch out for some patchy dense fog developing through the Nature Coast. Otherwise, looking at a nice day tomorrow. Partly cloudy conditions. Temperatures will be in the mid and upper 80s. Only a 10% chance that we see any showers today or tomorrow. Allergy forecast, low and medium pollen counts for the next couple of days. We'll see a little more pollen flying around in the air on Thursday and Friday. Here's your Election Day planner, looking amazing. Temperatures in the mid 80s this afternoon. Sunset at 5:42. Polls close at 7. Temperatures will be at 78 degrees. And then your 7-day forecast keeps us in the mid 80s through the rest of the week. Small rain chances as we go through the second half of the weekend to the weekend, but a little cooler for the weekend with highs near 80 degrees.
All right, it is 6:45. Let's get a check of traffic now. I'm Hillary Zala. In Hernando County, just north of Dade City, there's a crash on Cortez Boulevard, which is causing this yellow on the map here. So State Road 50 here at Tryman Boulevard, you have a crash blocking a lane, and I'm seeing a delay both east and westbound. And let's go live to Sky 10 in Hillsborough County, where we are flying over I-75 right at Fowler Avenue here, and southbound traffic really starting to pick up as traffic heads into Tampa. And so for your morning commute here, you're about 3 minutes delayed coming from the North Apex down to the Selman Expressway. The other hot spot that we have is 275, so just to the west of that 75 corridor. This is a live look right at Sly Avenue, where there is a broken down right near here, just not showing on camera, which is why traffic is a little slow, taking you now 27 minutes from the North Apex down to I-4. That is approaching a 15-minute delay, and it's not even 7 o'clock. So definitely 275 is a little heavier this morning than usual. And then I-4 also in the red here, heading towards downtown Tampa. So essentially from US 301, then as you pass 50th, past the connector, and then head into downtown, that's where you're the slowest. 14 minutes from 75 to 275. That's almost a 5-minute delay there as well. And as we zoom out and look at the bridges, if you're going to cross the bay this morning into Tampa on the Gandy Bridge, it is taking you 5 minutes. The Howard Franklin is now 1 minute delayed at a 7-minute travel time, and the Courtney Campbell Causeway taking you 7 minutes as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Hillary. Now, earlier in the show, we were talking about the Senate race and the candidates and where they kind of stand on certain things. So now we're going to switch gears to the gubernatorial candidates. Rob, this race is getting national attention, rightfully so, for so many people. On Monday, I actually showed viewers this map showing the Google trending topics for the midterms. Really interesting.
The entire Bay Area, there, too. So the one thing that I noticed that is interesting in this particular situation is not a lot has changed, considering it's only been 5 days since Floridians could sign up and vote for health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. I'm not surprised to see that healthcare, the #1 topic in our area and a lot of regions of our state. Both Ron DeSantis and Andrew Gillum staying along party lines when it comes to healthcare.
Because if you lower the premiums, more people can afford it, and you'll get more people doing it. So and here's the promise that I make to voters here in Florida. If for some reason something changes on that individual market protections, the court does something, I will happily sign a bill to help folks with pre-existing conditions here in the state of Florida.
We deserve to expand Medicaid and offer access to health care for over 800,000 of the most medically needy people in our state.
Really interesting stuff there. Now, Rob, the second topic that voters are talking about right now is immigration. So kind of tell us where the candidates stay on that. It's a hot button topic.
Yeah, it certainly is. We looked at this, Aubrey, and during their debate last month, things, as you just saw, got pretty heated between the two when talking about the very topic of immigration.
That if we have a criminal illegal that serves a prison sentence and there's an ICE detainer on that individual so that we can get them in federal custody and send them home, Andrew doesn't want to, he won't commit to cooperating. I will cooperate. I will get that criminal out of our state and out of our country. And here's the thing. Why would you allow your dislike for the president to knowingly put communities at risk? To have mothers who may have their sons or daughters harmed by somebody? That is just wrong. We have to protect Floridians first. And that's what I'll do as governor.
We believe that we are a nation in a state of borders. We also believe that we're a nation in a state of values, where we don't separate babies, put them in cages to separate them from their mothers. Immigration and Border Control has an important job to do, and we ought to empower them to do that job, which is why we propose moving the agency inside of the Department of Justice.
All right, finally, when it comes to gun control, this topic was a huge topic in Florida, especially after the Parkland school shooting. It dominated the news cycle here for several weeks, and it really made national news.
Oh, easily. So it's safe to say that the candidates, when it comes to their positions, they're staying along party lines.
Yeah, left and right, red or blue, they pretty much stayed right where you think they would be. Take a listen.
When I took on the NRA, they sued me and drug me through court for 2 years, all because we had a city ordinance which said you could not shoot guns in city parks. When we win this race, it'll be simple. It's not a threat to the Second Amendment. If you want to own the power of God at your waist belt, you ought to have a background check.
I think the way to keep our community safe is obviously you got to work with law enforcement, not against law enforcement, and you need to identify those individuals who should not have access to firearms. The blanket ban on the restriction, that's going to get struck down in the courts. It's a constitutionally enumerated right. You always got to do it in a way that's precise.
And these debates at moments did get pretty heated.
Oh,
but
easily,
according
yeah.
to the latest Quinnipiac poll right now, Andrew Gillum is leading in that race.
No surprise there. Speaking of polls, for those of you voting today, the polls open in less than 10 minutes. Nothing wrong with getting out there early to vote, right, Rob?
That's right.
I know.
Welcome back to Brightside. The sun is up and shining on this Tuesday, November the 6th. 6:53 is the time. Just turned to 6:54. The polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 o'clock tonight. This is a live look at a location, a polling location on Davis Islands. You can see folks already out there getting in line, Brightside and early, to do their civic duty today and cast their ballots. Well, as voters get ready to cast their ballots today in what is likely to be one of the most historic midterm elections in recent memory, John Dickerson is in New York. John, good morning.
Good morning, Rob. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we'll begin with the eye-opener. It's Your World in 90 Seconds. Then we're covering all today's hard-fought midterm races. We have correspondents talking to voters all across the country. And we'll break down the issues driving the race and introduce you to some of the candidates who could make history. And millennials will soon be the largest and most diverse voting bloc in America. They tell us why they're more likely to vote this year than in the past. We'll see with all that at 7.
Yeah, more millennials voting now than baby boomers, if you can believe it. All right, be sure to follow 10 News on social media. We'll be live streaming on Facebook and on our website, WTSP.com. We have got you covered when it comes to election night starting at 7 o'clock. We're going to switch gears right now from election coverage to running. Right? Yeah. Runners from Kenya and Ethiopia were winners of this year's New York City Marathon on the race course itself.
Now, but perhaps the real winners on the course were a pair of New Jersey residents, one whom had a surprise for the other.
That's right. Check this out. This is Caitlin Curran. She was summoned over randomly to a group of people on the side of the race course there. They were cheering for her, and then suddenly, ba-da-da-da-da.
Oh, I love these. The question from Dennis Galvin, will you marry me? Now, Corinne said yes, gave him a quick hug and said, okay, I have to finish the race.
She said, who are you? Didn't even know the guy. No. Curran finished the race in 4 hours, 24 minutes. That is a heck of a time. And then the happy couple went off to celebrate. How about that?
That is so sweet.
It's like, I gotta go, I'm busy.
Did you guys know the winner of the race has to, well, doesn't have to, but it's tradition for them to drink out of their shoe? Like take a shot out of their shoe afterwards?
Oh, no, I
Hey,
didn't
you
know
need to
that.
hydrate.
So odd.
I was just like, today I learned.
Not joking, yeah.
I did not know that.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
All right,
And Rob will not be running any marathons anytime soon.
Check that off.
All right,
That's not gonna
guys.
happen.
Speaking of checking the list, temperatures up in the mid and upper 80s this afternoon, partly cloudy skies later today. Really a nice election day for us here in Tampa Bay. Only a 10% chance for an isolated shower, more likely north if we see anything at all. We'll see.
I-75 here, checking out right near Brandon Boulevard. Having a good start to our Tuesday morning on the roads.
All right, happy Election Day. Keep it here on 10 News throughout the day for all of your election coverage. We'll see you next for 10 News Midday.